Hi, I'm Jessica from Ivory Anchor Studio, and I'm here today to answer some of the questions that I get asked the most. The first thing that people usually ask me is how to do certain things. But the first thing that I recommend is to get legal. So something that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of photographers, if you plan on selling anything physical, so prints, cards, announcements, anything along those lines, you have to have a sales tax license. I'm sure each state is different, so you'd have to actually look into that for each state. For me, I'm in Michigan, and I just went online and applied and got it within a couple days. Another thing that photographers sometimes overlook when they are trying to get legal is their name. It varies again depending on where you're at, but for us we had to do an assumed name because we aren't using our first and last name. So if you are a sole proprietor, which means if you're not forming an LLC or incorporating or doing any of that, if you are doing any kind of business under any name other than your first and last legal name, you are required to get an assumed name or a DBA. Another thing you might want to think about is sometimes there's different local and state laws which require you to register your business or get a business license. Make sure you look into that as well. Another thing to think about maybe isn't something legal, but it's still something that you might want to look into to protect your business and your assets, and that would be liability insurance. And general liability is something I definitely recommend any photographer, new or seasoned, because you never know, something could always happen. Another thing that a lot of photographers may not realize is it is actually illegal to shoot on railroad tracks without special permits. You can get in a lot of trouble, and so can your clients. And it can be dangerous. You would think that you would feel and hear the train, but you'd be surprised how many deaths there are each year from people being struck by trains just from not hearing them. So my second thing after you get legal and you realize what all the requirements are in your area, the second thing I suggest, and it's hard, it's so hard, is when you are learning the technical aspects of photography, it's so easy to dive right in and start learning everything all at once, but it can be overwhelming. And so I suggest you take a handful or even one or two things and learning those and learning them well. The basics that I would start out with are things like ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. I would recommend learning white balance, and I would learn the composition, and I would learn exposure. If you don't have any of these basic things, you are going to set yourself up to not do the best. Another thing that I would really work on to begin with is focusing techniques and really making sure that your image is sharp and how to do that. Google is a powerful tool, and so is YouTube. So remember, get those basics out of the way. Once you get the basics out of the way, you can move on to things like more detailed composition, posing, lighting. You can learn studio lights. You could learn editing. The thing is with editing though is it's overwhelming with how powerful Photoshop could be. So when you're learning it, again, I would follow the same rules as with your camera. Learn one thing at a time, learn each tool individually and learn what it does and learn how to use it well before you move on to the next thing. It could be very tempting to start learning everything and very overwhelming too. And the last thing that I suggest is to not let your fear hold you back. You are good enough. So what if you don't get every single picture tack sharp? So what if your white balance is off? So what if the composition stinks? It's okay. It's alright. There's a lot of people who break all of those rules and they make beautiful photographs. So what matters is honestly if your clients are happy. If your clients are happy, you could still learn, don't get me wrong, but that's truly what matters. And most people are happy with very sharp, correctly colored, and well-lit photographs. This is Anna, by the way. She's my daughter and I love her. And she loves me. You want to say hi?
Hi.
To the camera? Hi.
And this is my mom. What that says that I have brothers and his name is Noah and Max. They're boys. And out there is sister, they only have one with sister, and this is my mom.
I really hope that you enjoyed my video today. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up and to subscribe so you can see more videos. I do plan on releasing one of these videos at least a week. I will try my best.
Yeah, remember these flowers.
Thank you for watching my video. I hope it helped you. I hope you found at least one thing of useful information. Don't be afraid to ever stop learning. Don't be afraid to jump right in, get your feet wet, and give yourself a chance.